against the use of medical marijuana and denying it to the sick and suffering, they asserted their right to deny us a little dope in the hospital while retaining their right to put a big dope in the White House. Actually, it was the Big Dope's father who nominated Clarence Thomas, and he wrote the ruling, which, it's important to note, the entire court agreed with, except Justice Breyer, who had to recuse himself because he's really into reggae. But the whole court concurred that a medical exception for pot was out of the question because, quote, even when the patient is seriously ill and lacks the alternative avenues for relief. That's right, folks. This is one illegal plant, and don't think you'll get out of it just because you smoke dope to make your bone cancer feel better. The Supreme Court is wise to that lame excuse. Who are these people who are willing to look a dying man, woman, or child in the eye and say, you can't have the one drug that could ease your pain? If these are the compassionate conservatives, the tough ones must be out hunting Santa Claus down. Folks, compassion can't just be a word to get elected with. It means something, or it should, especially to those who cloak themselves in the mantle of honor and values and Christianity. Can anyone seriously doubt if was in front of an emaciated cancer patient with a joint in his hand, he'd light it up? How can they be so callous to the frail and dying, especially since Vice President Cheney is one of them? How can they turn such a blind eye to a substance that makes certain unbearable things bearable? Things like glaucoma, arthritis, chemotherapy, and Grateful Dead music. This country has always prided itself, and well it should, for our record of getting the wounded off the battlefield. This is the same principle, and you'd have to be the highest court in the land not to see that.
Ladies and gentlemen, the star of Politically Incorrect, Bill Maher.
For having the crime of having cancer and taking marijuana for it. But you want to take issue with this and what I said at the top of the show about medical marijuana, so please.
No, I'm just raising the issue. Why do we have Marinol? I don't know if you guys read about this, but there's this drug out there, these pills that give you the same effect marijuana does without giving you a buzz.
Well, first of all, it just doesn't give you the same effect.
How do you know?
Because I know.
Because you know you love weed. Come on now, Bill. You know you like the
That
ganja.
is so not the issue. Okay.
What is the issue? That pot is illegal and therefore it shouldn't be given to people
Well,
who...
I think one of the
we're
big
not even
arguments
talking about that. That's another reason.
I know, but
that people are abusing it. They're really not sick. They're just getting prescriptions so they can smoke weed.
But where do they draw the line? Because,
it's
for instance, you know, think of the abuse of every other drug.
The abuse.
Antibiotics.
Or like, oh my God,
I people use antibiotics
right, and
really
the pharmaceutical companies are making a killing, literally,
But wait
and
a
they
second.
shouldn't be. So I think
So what you're saying is that if some people who weren't dying abused this law and actually snuck some marijuana when they weren't dying, that would cause civilization to fall?
Well, but you know what?
That's the problem. That's the most important thing we have to worry about.
The
Is
hypocrisy.
people abusing the...
The hypocrisy is, oh, I'm so sorry you're dying of cancer. No, you can't have any pot, but here's some Prozac. It'll make you feel better for knowing that you are going to die.
Right.
I mean, that's the hypocrisy. We can take everything, you know.
to me, it's like with all the drugs. We are, what, 4–6% of the world's population. We can consume 60% of the illegal and legal drugs in the world. We are just overly medicated as a culture. We go to drugs for everything. And you mentioned Christ. Would Christ light him up? No, he healed him and told him to go eat a cheeseburger for some, you know, gaunt man who was, you know, skinny and emaciated.
I think he'd give him pot. You don't think Jesus would give him? Well, he's lying there next to a prostitute. I don't think the pot is...
Yeah, but, you know, he didn't give her a condom and say, go next time, you know, practice safe sex. He told her go
I think that, you know...
But that's a whole other issue.
No, people can grow pot themselves and it's free and whatever, and people aren't going to make a bunch of money off of people smoking pot to feel better, so they make them rely on, you know, pharmaceutical drugs like Marinol or whatever that they have to buy from a big company when people can just grow their own pot and get better.
You know, The reason why...
Just admit it. Just be
The reason why...
intellectually honest and say, we like pot. We like pot.
Okay,
I don't like pot, but I don't think it should be legalized.
But that's not the issue we're talking about. We're talking about people who need it, who don't like it.
Don't have a problem with people who need it. They're raising the issues because of people who are abusing it.
But the reason why Marinol, which is a BS drug, which you don't need because there's the actual drug, okay?
Right.
The reason why that's okay is because somebody will profit, as you mentioned, from Marinol. Partnership for a drug-free America. How about a partnership for just a free America? Why don't we start with that?
Yeah.
And also...
Well, what is free? Freedom in America is do whatever you want to do. That is not
Partnership
freedom,
for a
that's
drug-free
anarchy.
America is a lobbying arm of the prescription drug industry.
And that's not what freedom is. Freedom comes with a price. It's called
a shame
responsibility.
that no one heard that.
But
let me repeat it. Partnership for a drug-free America
you want
is
free drugs.
Are you going to drown this out twice?
Yeah.
It's a lobbying arm for the prescription drug and liquor industry. That's what prescription drugs. They don't want to have a drug-free America. They want an America free of the drugs that are their competition.
And the sketchy thing is,
they don't want marijuana in competition with Marinol because nobody will get their payoff.
Well,
I'm sorry, I have to take a commercial.